Could you hear me now? Yeah, Zalman, you hear me? I can see you. All right, fine. First of all, Shalom. I want to just, not 100% sure what the setting is. I want to talk about something that's a little bit more relevant to today's setting. That's a shaila which I saw in a sefer. I won't tell you what sefer it is. Maybe one of you I see, one of you certainly will know which sefer it is. There was a sefer like this. The shaila was shaila lahalacha. There was a person on a plane. There was a plane traveling to Eretz Yisrael on Thursday night from the United States. United States to Eretz Yisrael, an El Al flight that had a few hundred passengers on it. An hour or two into the flight, an announcement was made over the loudspeaker saying that there's someone on the plane that's not feeling well. Is there a doctor on board? The doctor gets up. There was a doctor. He comes, he goes over to the person that wasn't feeling well. He examines him. And he gets a message from the pilot saying, Azoy, if this passenger, which doesn't feel well, you feel that his life is in danger, we certainly are just going to go back. There's no questions asked. We're going to just turn around and go back and come back to New York. But you should know that going back to New York means losing a few $1 million. First of all, it's a few $1 million expense for El Al. And there's also hundreds of passengers on the flight that are going to end up not being where they're meant to be for Shabbos. It's like disrupting the lives of a few hundred people. So I just want you to realize, I'm not telling you in any way if you feel that this person's life is in danger, so we'll go back. There's nothing to talk about. But I just want you to just don't think that going back is as though there's nothing happening. Big deal. We'll go back. It is a big deal. It's a big deal. It means a few $1 million. And it means changing the lives of hundreds of people. So just be aware. The doctor sat there with the patient. He examined the patient and he assessed the situation. And he said like this, I don't believe anything is going to happen to the patient. The patient is not, the patient, I believe, I would say there's 90% chance, 95% chance, I'm not sure exactly the percentages, that the patient will be fine. I am willing to sit with this patient for the duration of the flight. For the duration of the flight, if there's any problem, I'll be there. But I don't believe that we'll anticipate any serious problems. In Kachava, they continued the flight. In Baruch Hashem, nothing happened. The patient, this passenger felt fine. They came to Eretz Yisrael. Everybody got off the plane. He went home. Everything was fine. That's the end of the story. A good ending. Good ending. A little nervous in the middle, but a good ending. The question is now when the doctor comes home and he speaks to his Rav, he wants to know what's really the halacha. In other words, like this. If this patient would have been at home and it would have been Shabbos afternoon and he would have felt the way he felt, and the doctor would come and examine him and he would tell him that there's a 90% chance that there's not going to be any problem. But there's a 10% chance you are experiencing some problems, maybe some heart pain, whatever, some chest pain, and memela, you should be checked out. Would he be justified to go to the hospital, to be Machal Shabbos and go to the hospital? Would he be able to take a car, whatever's involved, making a telephone call, whatever's involved, making a Chil Shabbos to go to the hospital? And if on the L'chura, there's no question that L'chura, there's no question that if you have a person that's experiencing chest pain, so you're not going to say, well, 90% chance, Mustama, there won't be any problem. The pashtus, if there's a chance that this person needs to be checked out, so you'll send him to the hospital and you'll tell him that he should be checked out and be Machal Shabbos in order to be checked out. on one hand. So if that's the case, if this is a situation which warrants Chil Shabbos, so how could it not warrant, how could you be worrying about $3 million or 300 people having to turn around their lives? L'chura, it pales into insignificance in the face of Chil Shabbos. Chil Shabbos is a Yisra Deiraisa, it's a Chayiv Karetz, a Chayiv Skila, Chayiv Shabbos. So if you would be willing to be Mechal Shabbos for it, so L'chura, Mikolshkin, V'kal V'chemer, you should be allowed to you should be mechuyev, not allowed. The question is not allowed. The question is, are you mechuyev to do? Were they mechuyev to turn the plane back? B'kitzur, if that situation would have warranted Chil Shabbos, does that situation warrant them to turn the plane back? That's the question, which is a question. I'm saying the question is negeh b'zman hazeh because we're living in a time where people are being worried about situations, and the question is, how much do you have to worry? There's how much do you have to worry. There's some people that wouldn't walk out the house because there's maybe someone at the end of the block that might sneeze, and there may be a very serious wind that'll bring that sneeze into your nostrils, and you'll be in a sakana. And some people feel that they don't have to worry about anything. I mean, there's like obviously a fine line. We want to discuss this inyan. That's all. Just discuss this inyan. And this inyan we find not only this. The mashal you find like this. Let's say a person's wife has to go to the hospital. She has to go to the hospital. She's having a baby, and his wife and she would feel much more comfortable if her husband comes with her to the hospital. So really, going in a car with a wife to the hospital, it doesn't involve Chil Shabbos. It's not, I mean, necessarily. But what happens if it does involve Chil Shabbos? And what involves Chil Shabbos is something which involves Chil Shabbos, but the purpose of the Chil Shabbos is for her to be more comfortable. There's many poskim, today's poskim would say that for sure you can be Mechal Shabbos in order to make her feel comfortable. A lot of poskim would say that. That's on one hand. And on the other hand, let's ask this husband a question. If in order to give her this comfort, it would cost you $1,000, it would cost you $5,000. Would you also be willing to give it? I mean, it could be she won't feel comfortable if she knows it's costing $5,000. That's another issue. But if in such a situation, would you also? In other words, could we say that if you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos, so then Sadavar Apashut that you're mechuyev to spend a lot of money for it? Or we could say you're allowed to be Mechal. On one hand, you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos, and on the other hand, you don't have to spend money for it, or you don't have to. There could be a situation where you don't have to do something. That's our question. In other words, the shaila is: are these two inyanim l'chura a seiser ein of mitzvah? On one hand, we're saying you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos, and on the other hand, we're saying you're not mechuyev to do it, or if it's spending money, you don't have to spend money. How does it work? So I wanted. This is the subject we want to discuss here for a little bit. We're not going to speak on Arichas Hadvar. So the Maisa say, so we want to say there's two dinim. This is not something which I'm not saying Psachidush over here. The Sefer Er Godel from all he talks about it, the Malachim bring it. Just I want to go over this. There's some people that want to think that there's two dinim. There's two dinim. There's one din that says a person is supposed to watch his health. This person is supposed to mechuyev to watch his health. And then there's another din, there's a chiyuv to help people. If a person is in a situation where he's in danger, there's a chiyuv to help him. And on the other hand, there's another din. There's a din called v'chai b'hem. V'chai b'hem v'leishi yomos b'hem means that when you do a mitzvah, and you have a mitzvah, including Chil Shabbos, so if it endangers your life, you're not mechuyev to do you're not mechuyev. Basically means that there's no chiyuv to do anything which will endanger your life. There's no chiyuv to do anything which will endanger your life. So some people want to think like this. I just wanted to have the inyan. There's a chiyuv to do mitzvahs. You have to keep Shabbos. You have to keep mitzvahs. You're not allowed to eat dvar masur. Now there's another mitzvah called v'chai b'hem. So what's the pshat? How do you understand the Havanas Hadvarim? Is it ki'il or name like this? The Amas on one hand there's a chiyuv Isser Shabbos, and on the other hand there's a chiyuv v'chai b'hem, which means you're supposed to keep yourself alive. So it's kilut, and the question is, which one is stronger? So we say v'chaybem overrides chil Shabbos. The chiyuv of pikuach nefesh overrides chiyuv Shabbos. It's babus devor. They say from Reb Chaim. They asked Reb Chaim, why was he so makel in pikuach nefesh? So he says, no, he's not on Shabbos when he get in Yonim Shel pikuach nefesh. He says, I'm machmer from pikuach nefesh. I'm not makel in Shabbos. I'm machmer pikuach nefesh. It's kilu the student. There's a chiyuv of pikuach nefesh. There's a chiyuv of making sure you're alive. And then there's the Isser of Chil Shabbos, and the Chiyuv of making sure you're alive overrides the Isser of Chil Shabbos. So it comes out that the Chiyuv of keeping yourself alive is so strong, ad kedei kach, that it overrides all other Isurim except for the Gimel Avedas. So if that's the case, it certainly overrides any issues of money. If it overrides Chil Shabbos, l'chura, for sure it overrides any issues of money. So Mela, the shaila is a good shaila. L'chura, how could you be worrying about money when it comes to pikuach nefesh? L'chura, pikuach nefesh, l'chura is not shayach to think about money. That's on one hand. Kol ha'shalish yitin bad nafshe. That's on one hand. But on the other hand, it could be a different word. And this you have to. It's not such an easy word to there. And they have to develop it also. The pshat is azay. The Torah tells us that there's a iser to Mechal Shabbos. But on the other hand, the Torah doesn't give us the Isser of Chil Shabbos if the Isser of Chil Shabbos is going to involve losing your life. Now, I understand it borders on Hutra and Tchuya. It borders on Hutra and Tchuya. But the word is, the Torah, it's almost to say, there's no chiyuv. There's no chiyuv to worry about Shabbos, if through worrying about Shabbos, you may lose a life. Now, I'll give you, let's talk an example. Let's talk an example. The din is azoy. Pikuach nefesh is deichesh kol ha'teira kula. What kind of din of pikuach nefesh? Pikuach nefesh is afilu asofik, unasvek sveika, all kinds of sveikas. There's also pikuach nefesh is deich. So Mele mefakhin is a gal b'Shabbos, even it's a suffix. If it's a suffix of Yisrael, it's a suffix. All kinds of sveikas you also mefakhin. Mefakhin all is a gal. Okay, that's the din. In ilchin akar areif, you don't go bas areif. That's the din that you get pikuach nefesh. Now, what about Lamosh? I'll give you an example. Sudah Gemara in Sanhedrin. Gemara in Sanhedrin the Fayin Gimel. The Gemara says that there's a chiyuv of lisamed al dam riyacha. There's a posik, there's a din of lisamed al dam riyacha, that if you saw chaveri tiveh banor, you mechuyev to save him. Frag the Gemara, what's the chidush? L'chura, there's a din on Shabbos Aveda. So mad, you have a chiyuv to be meishiv his Aveda in case he loses something. There's a chiyuv of Shabbos Aveda. So certainly there's a chiyuv of lisamed al dam riyacha. L'chura, his life is greater than an Aveda. That's the Gemara's kasha. And on that, the Gemara answers the teretz. What's the teretz? The teretz is that b'nigeya ashavas Aveda, you're not mechuyev to go spend money. You're not mechuyev to go hire people in order to make sure someone's Aveda. The din of lisamed al dam riyacha, there's a chiyuv that you have to go and hire people in order to be lisamed al dam riyacha. That says in Gemara. Stelze the shaila l'chura, the din of lisamed al dam riyacha. What happens if it's a suffix and a svek sveka? L'chura pikuach nefesh is deicha kol ha'teira kula, even if it's a suffix and a svek sveka. So l'chura, that's the chiddush of lisamed al dam riyacha. Lisamed al dam riyacha means you have to try to save someone's life, even if it's a far suffix. And lepel mamish, the Gemara doesn't answer that. Is l'chura vilman bring araya? Vilman bring araya that the pshat is no. That be'em is the chiyuv. It's a chidush. The chiyuv of lisamed al dam riyacha is like all chiyuv in the Torah. There's a isur lisamed al dam riyacha, and by the all isurim shebetera, there's a din if it's a suffix, if it's a svek svek, if it's a roiv. So there's no din of lisamed al dam riyacha. That din doesn't apply. If that din doesn't apply, so how is it that pikuach nefesh is deicha kol ha'teira kula, even a suffix and a svek sveka? So the answer is there's two dinim here. That's like there's two dinim here. There's one din, a positive din, v'nishmartem edel nafshi seichem, or a positive din of lisamed al dam. A positive din lisamed is a lot, but means to say there's a din leisam al dam riyacha, go help him, and that goes into the klolim, all the lavim of all the esim, which have rules of rei, chazoke, svek, all kinds of rules. Now there's a new din. There's a din v'chaybem, that when the Torah tells us not to do an avera, the Torah is telling us v'chaybem, that you should live. In other words, the Torah wasn't given in a way that you have to die, and memela for it in normally yisurim. So memela, even if it's a suffix and a sveka, so there's no chiyuv. In other words, the chiyuv doesn't apply when it's a suffix and a sveka. I hope I'm saying the word clearly. Somebody else, I don't see any reactions over there. I see only one person. Like one person, I can see that that I know a few people maybe, but I'm trying to figure out if it's clear what we're saying over here. Notice, this is a din in Koach Nefesh is a din in the mitzvah and the avera. Now, some people want to take out of this. Now, this goes further. Some people want to go out of this that it's a rishus. Lefi that it's a rishus. In other words, even though Pikuach Nefesh is deicha kol atera kula, but since there's no chiyuv, in other words, the question is, could a person put himself in a matzav of a sakana, where such a person in such a matzav of sakana, if he would have been in such a matzav of sakana, would be justified in doing an isra? Like psashtira minei obey, a matzav of a suffix sakana, so you're justified in doing this isur. On one hand, and on the other hand, are you allowed to put yourself in such a suffix sakana? So the answer is, so the way we're saying right now, it comes out it's two separate dinim. There's a isur, there's a chiyuv, lachamol. There's a chiyuv nishmartim lafshesech. You have to watch your life. There's a chiyuv lisamed al dam riyach nachachiyuv. And then there's another din. V'chaybem. V'chaybem is not a new chiyuv. V'chaybem is a din of that. It's like a t'nai in the mitzvahs. The t'nai in the mitzvahs is v'chaybem v'leish yomazbem. If that's the case, so the chur it's a rishus. V'chaybem will be b'chinas rishus. So some people want to say that. But I just want to say there's a Lashon Rambam. Maybe this will help. I'm not sure. Maybe I feel like maybe we're saying this in a confused way. But I'll call upon and hopefully we're getting some clarity here. There's a Rambam. The Rambam in the beginning of second Perek of Hilchos Shabbos, where the Rambam speaks about Chuyi Shabbos, Eitzel Sakonos and Foshes, Kishar Kol HaMitzvahs, all the dinim. Then he says, K'sha'ism dvar melu enesim le'yadei goyim le'yagtanim le'yagdei Yisrael. Then he says, V'osur li'ismamea b'chil Shabbos l'chayla sheyesh b'sakon. A chayla sheyesh b'sakon osur li'ismamea. Why? So the pastor, when you're reading over there, yesh b'sakon means there's a serious sakon. It's not a suffix sakon. Osur li'ismamea b'chil sheyesh b'sakon. Shnamar, ashiyas eisa odom v'chaybem. V'leish yomazbeh. Holamadato, she'ein mishpatei ha'teira nekoma b'elam. Elerachmim v'chesed v'sholem b'elam. Ve'elu aminim she'emrim she'zechil Shabbos v'osur aleim ha'koseveim v'gam ani nesatel m'chukim l'teva. So the Rambam is saying that kilu neimar, when a person is not mechal Shabbos for a suffix sakana, it's kilu he's saying that mishpatei ha'teira is nekoma b'elam. Ein mishpatei ha'teira is nekoma b'elam. In other words, but so it comes out like this. There's taka chiyuv to be mechal Shabbos for a suffix sakana. Even though for that same sakana, it's like a modna din. It's like a modna din. A person is in a matzav of a suffix sakana. In this case of the plane, he's in a matzav of a suffix sakana. So on one end, you're allowed to be mechal Shabbos from, and on the other end, so if you'll say you're allowed to be mechal Shabbos, but you're not mechuyev to go help him. Okay, that would be also a chidush. But if we're saying fakir, on one hand, there's a chiyuv to be mechal Shabbos to help him, and on the other end, if it's not Shabbos and it's only a question of convenience, there's no chiyuv. There's no chiyuv to go and do this. What's pshat? Pshat is because since the Torah ain't atayra nekama ba'elam, so if a person is going to go ahead and his kilu is going to be keeping the Torah, and the keeping the Torah is in such a way that through his keeping the Torah, it comes out that he's forfeiting someone's life, or he's even forfeiting someone's life in the eifin of a suffix, so that's also a problem. I hope it's being clear. I want to say noch a word, noch ein word. The marshal, there's the Gemara declares it's maybe not another two things. The Gemara says in Chul, the Gemara declares if Chamira Sakantim Yisur. If Chamira Sakantim Yisur, in other words, if those kulas that we have by Yisurim, we can have by a Sakon, or we could rely on Chazaka. There's a Prima Godim that declares, or we are allowed to rely on Svek Sveka by Sakona. By Dvarim Shel Sakona, we are allowed to rely on Svek Sveka. And again, the Shaila is L'chura, how could that be? If what they did is that a suffix, a Svek Sveka, you could be Mechal Shabbos. If there's a Svek Sveka, you can be Mechal Shabbos. So how could it be that on the one hand, on a Svek Sveka, you're Mechal Shabbos? And on the other hand, for a Sakana, you don't have to worry about Svek Sveka. So we have to establish over here, let's just make it clear, that there's two dinim. There's one din that's called, there's mitzvahs hatera, and in mitzvahs hatera, there's a din v'chaybem. And that din v'chaybem is magbul and magdir, how the mitzvahs hatera should be in the sky. So first of all, you're not mechuyev to do something which is a sakana, that's for sure. And could be you're not allowed to do something which is connected to the mitzvahs, which have any inyan of sakana. Why? Because by doing that, it comes out that you're saying that nishpatei ateidah is nekama b'elam. So that in itself is a yisur. So that's a din and hilchis knows it's not a new din. It's not a new din. Kilu neimar v'chaybem. You have to see it, make sure to live. V'chaybem is a din in mitzvahs ateidah. There's a chiyuv of mitzvahs ateidah, and the mitzvahs ateidah is be'efen kazeh that first of all you're not mechuyev to be meisen nefesh because v'chaybem, and maybe not only you're not mechuyev to be meisen nefesh, but there's a chiyuv to make sure the v'chaybem, and even if it's it's far fetched. This chash, but lepel mamish, you shouldn't be mekayim mitzvahs ateidah if through mitzvahs ateidah you'll come to a suffix sakana. That's din number one. Then there's another din. The din is that you have to and then there's a din of that a person has to try to see to it to save people's lives, to save your own life and to save people's lives. And that din is a new din, and that din could be mugder under the general dinim of Torah, which is rave and there's svek and there's all kinds of dinim which are moved in the dinim. It's a delicate shaila. It's not really such a pashta zayf. I mean, it's way above my head. I mean, this madrega, but I'm saying it's a shaila. There's a thesis in Yuma. There's a thesis in Yuma that pehei. The Gemara says over there, lefakech al gal einikein, that you don't go ein helchem dinim nefashas achar areif. So Tesa says, "Emery the hainu timer den hilchem b'kuach nefesh achar arev, mishum dechsiv behem v'lei sheyamas behem, shel yuchol lavi b'shum inyan l'dei misa Shabbos." So from that Tesa also, if you read that Tesa, the top Tesa on Pehei Medalef and Yuma, he's asking on Shabbos you mefakech hagal, mefakech olavas hagal. So he's asking why l'chura there's a rave. So he says since it says v'chai behem shel yuchol lavi b'shum inyan l'dei misa Shabbos. That's what it says here. This is ad kana inyan that I wanted to say. In other words, we're trying to say this nakuda, which sarach bitter godel, that there's a din called v'chaybem v'lei shiyomas bem, and there's a din called v'nishmartem edel nafshesechem, and could be those gedorim are not the same gedorim. V'chaybem v'lei shiyomas bem, even for a suffix and a svek sveka, and the din of v'nishmartem edel nafshesechem is lav davke for a suffix and a svek sveka. Is for that goes the regular gedorim, the gidrei ateidah. Now I just want to finish off. Now we'll finish off. There's Alter Rebbe in Perek Chav Daled in Tanya, where the Alter Rebbe discusses the inyan of how a person really be'etzem every aveda is inyan of avodah zarah. Every inyan of aveda is avodah zarah, and therefore, if a person is mizbeinen, that every aveda is avodah zarah. So b'meila the same natural reaction that a yid has by avodah zarah, he'll have b'negei every aveda. So on that Alter Rebbe asks, "V'ha the bikuach nefesh is deicha is is deicha kol hatirkul, is deicha, how is it that pikuach nefesh is deicha shar avedas v'gam yehorig val yaver? Alter Rebbe asks. So on that, Alter Rebbe brings that together is that sheyishmer Shabbos is hard, chalol Shabbos achas k'dei sheyishmer Shabbos is hard. So the Alter Rebbe again over there also he's saying the pshat is azay. It's not the like when you could learn that there's a chiyuv to keep yourself alive in order lishma Shabbos is hard. But you could the way what we're saying pshat now comes out like this. Be'emes there's a Isser Shabbos. There's a Isser to do malach on Shabbos. Now comes along a matzav that if you're going to do this, if you're going to hold yourself back from doing this malach on Shabbos, your life will be in danger. So on that, so the question is, how do we look at it? Is the pshat is that on one hand, it's very important for you to be alive. On the other hand, it's very important not to do Shabbos. So being alive is more important than not doing Shabbos. That's one way of looking at it. That's one way of looking at it. There's another way of looking at it. It's important to be alive because like this, you'll be able to keep Shabbos. And so the mile of being alive is to be able to keep Shabbos. The way we're learning now, it comes out like this. Shabbos can't tell you not to do this because by doing this, you may be helping Shabbos. Again, we're learning that v'chaybem is a din in the mitzvahs. It's not there's two dinim. It's not the pshat is there's a isser to be mechal Shabbos, and there's a mitzvah to stay alive. And the question is, which is misgaber? The gather of v'chaybem is a gather within the isser Shabbos. In other words, within all the issurim, you're not allowed to be mechal Shabbos. But on the other end, there's a hagdara, it's kilak bola in the chiyuv Shabbos of v'chaybem. You're not allowed to be mechal Shabbos unless being mechal Shabbos is going to make you lose your life. So that's a din in chil Shabbos. Why? So you could say because keeping alive is more important than not being mechal Shabbos. The Alter Rebbe is saying, no, that's not the pshat. The pshat is, the way we're saying pshat is comes out like this. Shabbos can't be telling you not to do this because by doing this, Shabbos is kilu going to gain from it. Shabbos is going to gain by doing it. Mamela, Shabbos is not going to tell you not to do it. So if it would be like two separate mitzvahs, two separate dinim, on one hand there's a chiyuv to keep mitzvahs, on the other hand there's an in to keep alive. It's a little bit harder to understand. But I'll be what we're saying over here that the chaybem is a gather in mitzvahs. It's not a new din that you're supposed to stay alive. So it comes out that Sahotnish Kinart that Shabbos is going to tell you not to do this because through doing this, Shabbos kaviyochel, Shabbos kaviyochel is going to gain. Shabbos itself wants you to do it because through this you'll be Yishmer Shabbos is harder. So Shabbos tells you to do it. So when you're being Machal Shabbos, it's an Inyan in Shabbos. It's an Inyan in Shabbos. It's not an Inyan in Pikuach Nefesh. It's an Inyan in Shabbos. It's not like Reb Chaim. Reb Chaim says, "So in Pikuach Nefesh there's an Inyan of Shabbos." No, the whole gather of Pikuach Nefesh, Deicha Shabbos, is a din of Shabbos. The whole din of Pikuach Nefesh is Deicha Shabbos, is a din of Shabbos. Yeah, all right. I think das is so Inyan Bekitzer Nimritz. The Maisa is, so that's one din. So that's one din of how much a person has to worry that the madrega of what you'll be over Shabbos for Safik Pikuach Nefesh is not necessarily what you're mechuyev to worry about in regular life. It's advar chidush that you'll be mechal Shabbos for a madrega of something which maybe you're not mechuyev to worry about in regular life. And then there's another issue. There's another issue that's called Shem Psoim Hashem. The Gemara says in Ksubes, there's a musik called Shem Psoim Hashem. And Min Hashamayim Yirachmu. So your person again, you have to have a whole agdara. When do we say that you're not allowed to be machnas yourself to a sakana? And when do we say Shem Psoim Hashem? There's a famous Kevet Shiurim in Ksubes Daflam Betes, where over there he says when things are minigo elam, somewhere or another, Shem Psoim Hashem goes something that goes into the gather of minigo elam, and that we say Shem Psoim Hashem. Min Hashamayim Yirachmu. Maybe she should help. That everybody should be well, and we should Mirza should go out of this matziv of the golos, b'tev golos, and ultimately we should go out of the klolos hagolos. Everyone should go out of his meitzer and the klolos hameitzer. There'll be the merchav ha'emes, the emes merchav, the bias Mashiach tzidkenu, bekoriv mamsh. Thank you for listening. Seid gesund. I hope